Welcome guys to another video. In this video, I'll be showing you guys some practice problems for the chain and power rule. If you don't know what the chain and power rule are, I highly suggest you check out my last video where I explain what the chain and power rule are and the formulas of them. But if you don't want to do that, I'll just show you the formulas right here. So for the chain rule, let's say we're asked to find the derivative of dx, and then it's f of x or f of g of x. And then in order to find this derivative, it would just be f prime of g of x times g prime of x. And then for the power rule, if we're asked to find the derivative of u to the power of n, it would just be n u n minus 1 times u prime. So, knowing these two formulas, let's get right into the first problem. And also, just a side note, these problems are going to be, or my explanation of these problems are going to be a lot faster than normal because I have a concept video on it, so I highly suggest you check that out. Otherwise, I'm going to be going really fast. So, for our first practice problems, let's say we're asked to find the derivative of 2x minus 3 to the 5th power. So if we're asked to find the derivative of this, take a moment or two to figure this out. What is it? Okay, so in order to solve the derivative of this, we need to first know what rule we're using. And in this case, since there's a power, it's probably going to be the power rule. So the power rule is n times u to the power of n minus 1 times u prime. So this would be 5 times u, 2x minus 3, to the power of n minus 1, 4, times, and then it'd be u prime of 2x minus 3 would just be 2. And we can simplify this to be 10 times 2x minus 3 to the power of 4. Okay, let's get right into our next practice problem. So for our next practice problem, we have y equals root 3x plus 7. So for this practice problem, take a minute or two to try to figure this out. So I'm assuming that you took a minute or two to try to figure this out, but if you didn't, here's how you would do it. So we're asked to do y prime. So in this case right here, we can actually rewrite this as 3x plus 7 to the power of 1/2. And if it's written like this, then we know to use the power rule because there's an exponent. So n 1/2 u 3x plus 7 n minus 1, so 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2, and then times u prime, or u is 3x plus 7, so u prime would just be 3. So again, we can just rewrite this as 3 over 2 3x plus 7 to the power of negative 1/2. Also, let's rewrite that 7. 7 to the power of negative 1/2, and this would be equivalent to 3 over 2 root 3x plus 7. Alright, let's go right into our next practice problem here. So for our next one, we have f of x is equal to sine x plus 4 to the power of 5. So if we're asked to find the derivative of this, take a moment or two to try to figure this out. So I'm assuming you try to figure it out, but if you didn't, here's how you would do it. So there's an exponent again, so we would use the power rule. So n 5, and we have to plug in u. So that's sine of x plus 4. And then to the power of n minus 1, so 5 minus 1 is 4, times u prime. So since u is sine x plus 4, the derivative of sine x plus 4 would be cosine of x. So cos x. And we can simplify this as 5 cosine of x times sine of x plus 4 to the power 4. Alright, next practice problem here. So for this practice problem, we have y equals tangent of x plus 6 to the power 3. So take a minute or two to figure this out and unpause the video when you're ready. So I'm assuming that you did that, but if you didn't, here's how you do it. If you y prime equals, and then you take n, so n is 3, and u, so u is tan x plus 6 to the power of n minus 1, so 3 minus 1 is 2, times, and you'd have to take the derivative of tan x plus 6, and in that case the derivative is secant squared of x. So we can rewrite this as 3 secant squared of x tangent of x plus 6. That's the answer. Okay, let's try 3 more practice problems here. So for the next practice problem, let's say we're asked to find the derivative of sine 3x. So what will we do for this? Take a minute or two to figure this out. So if you didn't know, for this problem we actually have to use the chain rule since there's not an exponent here. So the chain rule states that, let me write it out real quick. The chain rule states that d dx of f of g of x is equal to, and that's equal to f prime of g of x times g prime of x. So in order to solve this, we first have to identify what the variables are. So f of x in this case looks like sine, and then g of x looks like 3 of x. So f prime would be cosine of g of x, so that'd be 3x times g prime of x. So the derivative of 3x is equal to 3. So this will be equal to 3 cosine of 3x. Okay, let's try one more here. And for this one, we'll use a combination of both. So let's say we're given y equals tangent of 4x squared, like so. So take a minute or two to figure this out, and when you're done, come back. So I'm assuming you took a minute or two to figure this out, but if you didn't, here's how you would do it. So if we're asked to find the derivative, it would be equal to f prime, so that's secant squared of g of x. G of x in this case is 4x squared times g prime of x. So the derivative of 4x squared is just 8, or it's actually 8x, my bad. 8x, and we can rewrite this as 8x secant squared of 4x squared, like so. Alright, let's try a few more here. So let's try to solve this. If y equals 4 cosine squared of x, what is y prime? Also known as find the derivative of y. So to do this, we can actually first rewrite the function as y equals 4 cosine of x squared. So if we rewrote the function like that, y prime would be equal to 4 times, and then here's where we apply the power rule. So n is 2, and we have to look at g of x, or we have to look at u. So in this case, u is cosine of x. So cosine x. And then we have to find u prime. So it's negative sine x. And then this is to the power of, or cosine of x is to the power of n minus 1, but since it's 2 minus 1, that'd be 1, so we don't need to write it. So if we simplify all this, we get negative sine of x cosine of x. So let's try one more like this. So let's say we're given that y is equal to pi sine of 4x plus 1. So take a minute or two to solve this and unpause the video when you think you're ready. So the derivative of y prime is equal to pi cosine 4x plus 1 times 4. And this is equal to 4 pi, let me write that better, 4 pi cosine of 4x plus 1. Okay, so in total we did these practice problems, and if you feel like this helped you with your test, or you feel like you got something out of this, please subscribe to the channel. We'll be adding chemistry videos and other math videos soon. So thank you guys for watching, and peace out.